In percentage and in statistics, girls are getting educated. That's when I started digging deep into it, and I realized that girls are not really encouraged to go out and look for jobs. I spoke to some matchmakers around me and in the city, and I was shocked to find out.
In India, are women still under pressure to choose between their ambition and families?
In my organization itself, I see women leaving job. I said, hey, listen, what can we do? She said to me, no, but now my in-laws feel that I'm.
What advice would you give to daughters of tomorrow?
When I was writing the book, the letters that I write to the daughter, I write that
Hi, Shamoly. Welcome to the show.
hi, Zahra, I'm so excited to be here.
I am really looking forward to our conversation because I know it's going to be a strong and inspiring one.
I hope so.
I'm sure it will be. So, we both are moms, we have daughters, and though the world is progressing, but we know as women, it still takes a lot to navigate life on your own terms. Your book, Letters to Daughters of Tomorrow, it's such an inspiring read. Tell me what motivated you to write that book?
So, Zara, honestly, a few years back, I came across this very shocking statistic that spoke about how a lot of girls are now getting admitted to schools. So, in percentage and in statistics, girls are getting educated and they are being admitted to schools. But for some reason, that number is not transpiring to jobs and work areas, and that number is drastically dropping. या तो high school में छूट जाता है, या तो they do high school but and they do college, but it doesn't transform to job markets. And that really caught my eye, because even though we thought that, wow, we're getting our girls educated, educate the girl child, and we're doing all of these campaigns, but is it really giving you any effect? And that's when I started digging deep into it, and I realized that a lot of education is happening namesake, like parents are putting both sons and daughters for education, but when they reach a certain manageable age, girls are not really encouraged to go out and look for jobs. It's mainly like first go out and find a groom or settle down, biological age and all of that, and get married, have kids. And then if you want to work, or then if your in-laws or husband allows you, then maybe, go for it. But it's essential that first you get married. So this conversation, surprisingly, and now in my mind, I live in, a cosmopolitan city like Bombay, and I believe, oh, this must be happening in like the villages of India and all of that. That was my perception, but I was really, really wrong, because when I started talking to people around me, I spoke to some matchmakers around me and in the city, and I was shocked to find out that a very highly educated girl, or a girl who makes more money than the boy, is also not fit for the matrimonial market, or the
Really?
takers are less. And those kind of things are very subconscious. People don't talk about it openly, but it exists. And that's when I realized that this is way too much. Like, it was overwhelming, and I wanted to start putting, I didn't want to just write a book that had, breakthrough headlines, but I wanted to support it with evidence and statistics. And that's where you see a lot of mindsets being opened or exposed about how we speak to our sons about first be financially independent is equal to settling, and how we speak to our daughters about first get a groom, get married, and then figure everything out. So those conversations were a little disturbing, and that's where the book was born.
Like you said, that it starts at a very young age, because what we model in front of our children, daughters or son, that's what they eventually pick up. Tell me, according to you, what qualities are required to be a strong and inspiring model to the girls in today's world?
Well, you're absolutely right. They learn more by example, not just daughters, sons. I mean, kids in general learn by emulating. They watch you in the house, and they watch you at work, or, whatever you're doing, and they imbibe all of that.
Right.
I think I've been very conscious from the start for the fact that I wanted to put an example of being a working mother. Even though I was home to tend to her when I thought she needed me, and then when I realized that now maybe her needs are a little less and my needs to go outside and start again redesigning my identity are more, I started figuring a conscious way to do that. And I realized for me what works for my personal happiness is that I need to also have an identity outside where I continue to thrive career wise while also be available to my daughter's needs. And I want her to watch the woman of the house work and come back home, or be able to balance both activities. I wanted her to see that it's possible, so that when she gets married or when she grows up, she sees and realizes by example that she can do both. She doesn't have to choose.
So, in a nutshell, for our daughters, for the girls, a role model should have self identity and someone who can balance various roles in their life, correct?
I was very conscious of the fact that I am thriving really hard about women should work, women should have financial independence, because it is a topic I feel very, very strongly about. I feel that a woman or a girl should not want to ask for money from her father or her husband or her brother for her personal needs, or, when she wants to get something. I feel like she should be able to experience the milestones that a boy experiences, like buying a car, buying a house, and all those big milestones that, we generally applause our sons and husbands for. And I feel this is something that we should ingrain in our daughters, that you can also have those milestones. Not having like a first kid and second kid and whatever third kid is great, but you can also have other milestones which are beautiful to experience, in terms of building your self confidence. My constant voice is that the woman should have a choice. If she decides to be a homemaker, it should be her choice, not because someone suppressed her need or desire, or someone didn't allow her, or she was never given the opportunity. So that is something that I'm completely strongly standing against. I feel a woman should be able to make her own choice. Let's say she works for a couple of years and then says, hey, listen, I'm going to hang my heels for a while. I want to bring up my kids, tend to the house and just do what a beautiful homemaker does. And I have utter respect for that. And I feel it should be her choice to lead the life the way she wants to lead.
So beautifully said. It's just as simple as giving that choice to the woman, whether she wants to work or she wants to take care of the home.
Absolutely.
The daughters, the girls can have role models in the family, or they can have role models even outside of the family. How do you think they are influenced differently by role models inside of the family versus those outside?
I think most often it's a combination of the two, because knowingly or unknowingly, we do see a lot of strong women around us in the house. For example, my mother, I feel, was a very strong influence on me for just the kind of command and power she had over the house. Outside, I feel what I like about today's social media generation is that you have such amazing women speaking, talking. You can follow their actions online and actually figure their personality or figure their next point of action. And I think that's a great way to get inspired and understand. Today, I feel we can actually watch closely the growth of any person. If we take a PV Sindhu, or if we take even the chess player who recently won. There are amazing throwback videos of where I think he was 9 or 10, and he says that I'm going to be the world's best number one chess player. So it's almost like these reels are now viral that he manifested it. So I feel it's very powerful today for girls to have that kind of exposure.
Like you said, because of social media, our girls have a spectrum of people they can identify and choose to be their role models. But then there is a flip side to it as well. So in today's digital world, how we can ensure that our daughters, our girls can differentiate between authentic role models versus superficial influences?
I feel that opens up some conversations sometimes that might be uncomfortable, but I always want her to feel, or we should always want our daughters to feel like this environment is safe and any
Correct.
question can be asked. Let's
Correct.
say if something disturbing they saw online, or something like about some celebrity they read online, and they'd want to come and maybe validate or ask. I feel we should be the people they'd want to ask, rather than, gossip with friends and maybe get
Absolutely.
some random information. I think open conversations is the only key, and maybe positive reinforcement of the models you like. So if you like a certain model, a woman icon who you feel has done something phenomenal, I think we should talk about it, that she came
Absolutely.
from this background and then this is what she achieved. Because they may not respond at that time like with that enthusiasm, but they are subconsciously listening and taking all this information inside, and few months down the line they'll suddenly refer to that. So it's amazing, because I was like, I thought she was not even listening, but like they absorb very quickly now.
I love that open conversations and sharing with them what women are achieving today. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shamala, you have an amazing career trajectory. You are a doctor, a businesswoman, an author, a podcast host, and a mom. Doing so many things is great, but doing them with grace and with the right mindset is what makes you a role model for many people. Tell me, how do you balance all these roles in order to set the correct example for your daughter that you can do so many things, but in the correct mindset?
I don't know if I consciously do it to set an example, but like I said, I think the drive to, find out who you are, or what is your limit, what is your worth, and how much can you amalgamate, and how much can you prove for yourself to do. I think that constantly pushes me. And I feel it's this need to achieve at least excellence, if not perfection, in what you pick to do. I think that is something that I also try and tell my daughter, or even, when I'm talking to younger kids, that if you pick up something, it's important to um, chase it till the end. And I think as parents, I always tell them that we must be more alert and conscious about what they want to do as opposed to what we want them to do or pursue. I think when I took the call to, switch from medicine to media, I feel I had to at that point be very vocal also with my folks about the fact that yes, medicine is a very thriving career and it's a fabulous opportunity, and I have the ability, but I probably don't have the interest for it. So if I've been in front of the camera hosting shows, after hosting shows, started feeling a little dull, I was like, hey, who's writing my lines? I want to write the lines now. So I started exploring script writing, and I was like, oh, interesting. The lights and the camera, the person who's making the show must be really smart. I'm like, I want to make a show. So you just like kind of, I think, keep getting stimulated and try and climb up the ladder and understand. I remember I used to do these auditions at the time, and you know how typical auditions are. They give you the script and you have to look into the camera and say your lines, and I used to constantly wonder who's writing these lines and who's deciding what I'm going to wear. And I think that constantly motivated me to understand the process behind it. And then the opportunities are many. I mean, then I wrote a book, we made shows, we are producing shows. So I think it's a constant stimulation if you're in the right field for yourself. And I feel for me, the switch or the decision, the courage to speak up and say that, hey, I don't think, because for the longest time, I thought I was wrong and I'm just making a big fuss about it. But the minute I started, tuning in more to my inner voice and taking off the pressures or, the external expectations from me, I think it just, is super clear in front of you. So I feel multiple roles may seem from outside in, but for me, I'm creating. I am creating in what may seem like in different fields. And I think the one example, if I want our daughters to take from this, is that pursue what you like to do and what will
Absolutely.
make you money. I think that's extremely important, because now stop saying chase your passion and follow your passion, because many a times passion may not lead to thriving things. So over time I've realized it's equally important. The smart person will know how to marry his passion to, uh, gain into financial independence.
Absolutely. Recently, I had a conversation with my daughter, Aliza, where I told her that, finance, money is a very important part of life.
Yeah.
So tell me, in India, are women still under pressure to choose between their ambition and families?
Surprisingly, or unfortunately, they are. I mean, I feel, of course, there are so within India, there are a lot of Indias, and then
Correct.
some come from privileged backgrounds, some come from, backgrounds where they do what can be done. And in my organization itself, or, in companies that I've earlier worked as well, I have seen the main milestones or certain areas when I see women leaving jobs. And if that
Mm.
happens, for example, in my organization, I want to first sit down and chat with her. I said, hey, listen, what can we do to, keep you and also give you leave? And what if I, keep your job and you come back, you take the
Mm.
leave that you
Yeah.
need, and your job will be there for you. And very smart woman. And she said to me, no, but now my in-laws feel that I'm giving too much attention to work and I'm not able to give that much attention at home. And she said, I think they are right about that. So it
Okay.
was not even that she was, forced. It very slowly became her decision. It was internalized almost, that she was feeling guilty about that. And while I understand many workplaces may not be supportive of it, but if your workplace is supportive and telling you, hey, we are there for you, just finish your thing and come back. So one is that, one is when they want to get married. Another one of my very, very, bright minds who I absolutely loved having in the organization wanted to get married. And I said, great, continue. I
Yeah.
mean, congratulations. She said, no, he is in a different state, so I'll have to move there. And it was almost like it's not discussion. I said, have you not considered, like, maybe, can he move here? Or he
Got
said, no,
it.
no, I cannot ask him that. Like, obviously, I have to move. So we are still in times and still in households where the woman is expected to make that change and accept it without questions asked. Of course, they must have seen, we see it so often around us that it's almost internalized that
Yeah.
this is normal. Sometimes the gap is so long that after a while they don't know where to start from.
I know.
And then it's like, that's why we have these workshops called second innings, because we are helping those women build their identity again, because
Mm.
after a gap their self-esteem or self-confidence kind of drops. And when they suddenly realize that, oh, some years have passed, now the market has changed, now I don't know how to go back and make contacts and start. That's the tough part. But I wish and I hope to see a future where this is not a choice, where how we talk to our boys, first settle so that you can run your family. I think that's exactly the conversation that we should have with our girls, that become financially independent and then get married, because then you both together can run the house.
Absolutely. You said something about workplaces, and I'm going to come to that because I have some stats which I would like to read out. But I want to dig deep in your conversation where you mentioned that. Yes, there is a pressure where they have to choose between family and career, and it's almost like it's internalized that women start feeling, हाँ ये correct है, हमको ये ही करना है. Now we know this is an issue. How do you think we can fix this?
I feel the only way to do that, and I feel this generation of women like you and me, and the women who are out there and seeing this transition, I call us the transition generation, because we've come majorly from a generation that was non-working women. Women were working even then in the 70s and 80s and 60s. It's not like they were not, but the statistics and the quantity of women working was less. They were more homemakers. So now probably it's balanced in a way where I see that at least women have had some jobs. If they're not continuously working, even if they're homemakers, they have at some point worked. So, which is fabulous because we are kind of transitioning to a generation where working is normalized. So, like your daughter or my daughter, kids today find it normal to have both mothers and fathers step out of the house to, earn bread and come back. And which is great because imagine when they grow up, our sons, our daughters will see that this is normal. So when a boy of this generation gets married at his age, he will not react or have weird concepts like, oh, my wife wants to work. Like that will not be weird for him because he's already seen his mother do that, or women in the family do that. And women, when they grow up and decide to get married, like kids our age, it will be normal for them to, we'll take a break to get married and then we'll resume our jobs in a week. Like that would hopefully be the conversation where they both will just figure their leaves out and like kind of get married. So I feel this transition generation kind of has that power to change that, to normalize that. My constant pressure focus is on financial independence for the girls, because this mindset earlier that we had was, the girl goes from the father's house, and then the husband's house, and husband takes care. So that whole thing, even in our Indian rituals, which are very beautiful, like when you're, doing the whole Sat Fera thing, there's this particular thing where the father takes the hand of the daughter and gives it to the husband, and the Kanyadan. And these things have beautiful meanings, but I feel somewhere, are we passing on the right message? Like you are passing her to him to what? Being taken care of. So I think, I mean, we should still continue the rituals, but the overall conversation should change where maybe also do a reverse of that, where,
you both take care of each
we
other.
both take care of each other, where the mother takes the hand of the boy and gives it to the daughter and is like, okay, you also take care of him. And I think it's a very powerful feeling. Like imagine how the boy must be feeling when he gets married, that, oh, that sense of responsibility that a boy gets, that, oh, she's come to my house and I have to take care of her. I feel it should be mutual between the two of them, that we both are going to build a house, we both are going to earn, and we both are going to, whatever, not bring kids, but like at least have a thriving life. So I feel that conversation, that equal conversation that we have with our sons and daughters, will 100% change things in the future. But that has to come with parents like us, or of similar mindset, who think good about this, or who think like aisa hona chahiye.
Tell me, what's that one stereotype about Indian women that you feel is finally breaking?
I think when you think of an Indian woman, for the longest time, you think of a woman in a sari with a bindi, right? And I think somewhere that stereotype has now changed, or been broken, because you see women in, different attires stepping out. And for me, it doesn't mean they're modernized, but in our heads, a woman in a sari was the classic example of, वो घर की माँ या घर की भाभी जो सबका ध्यान रखती है, and she's very selfless and, taking care and nurturing, looking after everybody, and she's last. And those things are always like very earlier were almost worshipped about a woman. So I feel what I love now is women are putting themselves first. They're prioritizing their needs. Self-love is like trending since, like, I don't know, last so many years. So when I was writing the book, I was also very happy to see that there is change. So I constantly, in the letters that I write to the daughter, I want them to know that this is where we came from, and to not take for granted the opportunities that they will be getting tomorrow, because the women have worked really hard to break all of that. I mean, it's taken a lot of courage for women of this generation or previous generation to stand up and be like, hey, I think I want to build this, or I want to work here. It's always been her against society kind of conversation when she wants to, tick out of a box, or maybe get married a little later, maybe have a kid later. So I feel the stereotype is breaking. She is fending for herself and she is stepping out and prioritizing. And I hope it's only going to go onwards and upwards from here.
For a woman to work, she has to balance a lot of things. And this brings me to work-life balance. How do you define work-life balance? What does it mean to you?
I feel if I know what's happening at work, like if I'm at top of things at work, and if I know what was served or what was made for lunch or dinner at home and what did everyone eat. I feel that's a very good work-life balance because the days I don't know, it disturbs me. That means that, oh my God, I was not even mentally there to know what like she ate or what was made. So even though all those kind of questions are rooted through you, you still sometimes are mindless about what's happening back home, or sometimes you're so engrossed in a home emergency that you lose out on things at work. So I feel for me the perfect balance is you've done your day's work, and you are still back home to spend some good amount of hours or time, quality time with your family. I do not support this whole 90-hour work week and the entire thing that's trending now. And I don't think many do, because we live in a much smarter time where smart work is winning over hard work, which means that now you have, I mean, our kids are going to have AI to do their work really smart. They're going to be home at 4 and then they're going to go play pickleball and they're going to have an alternate life. I can 100%
We are
see
sort
it.
of doing that,
We are
like
sort of,
partially.
we are partially doing that, but they will be born with it. Like we are
Yeah.
doing it in our late 30s, and then we are figuring work life. I
Yeah.
think they'll be born with work life balance, and they'll be like, hey, this is only as much as I can work. I don't think they're going to burn the midnight oil for any of their like first jobs like maybe we did. Is a good work life balance. Yeah.
For me, I tried to achieve a balance for the longest time, and then I sort of changed my outlook towards it. I figured out there is no balance, there are priorities. And I read this very beautiful thing that stuck with me was, do not prioritize what's on your schedule, schedule your priorities. So I have come to terms that my priorities differ day wise. Some days my kids are going to be on the top of the priority list. Some days my work, some days my friends, home. And I guess that just makes it a little
Yeah, I
easier.
absolutely agree, because you're right. It's almost become, thanks to also COVID, it's become like a hybrid nature of work. So I feel like we don't need to, or we are not needed at work every day, as long as you are, in touch or on calls. But you're 100% right. Some days it's about showing up at school or, attending to something at home, and some days it's about the other things. So I feel if we have the choice to do that, we're already doing very well.
Absolutely. Now, work life balance, work life priorities require certain boundaries. What strategies or habits do you follow to create boundaries between your professional life and your personal life?
I think today it's slightly easier because you can decide at what time you want to be contacted, or what time you want to open the
Yes.
Pandora of email and like be bombarded with like thousands of emails and calls. So for me, if I want to switch off, that literally the laptop and the phone will be in a corner where
Yeah.
we can't see each other, and like it doesn't have access to me, because it's also in our mind. If you've seen that, oh, you've received this call or an email, then it's like a subconscious thing that I'm supposed to return back. So I think one thing that I read somewhere that I've very actively started doing is, in the start of the week, you already decide 2 or 3 activities that you're going to do together as a family.
Okay.
So let's say
Yeah.
this Friday, you're going to do this. It could be something small, it could be playing a board game, or it could be cooking a meal together. But I think just the idea that you're going to do that together on a Thursday or a Friday evening already makes the whole week very exciting.
Yeah.
And that's going to be quality time. Everyone will be mindfully available then, and then it's not just about why you're not doing this. I want to spend time with you, so you come. But maybe she's not in that mindset because
Yeah.
she was not prepared. So I think being vocal about, hey, let's this Sunday do this or do that, puts everyone on the same page. And I feel weekends or evenings like that are a great way to recharge and bond. And then when you're at work, you're at work. So there are times when I'm on a call, and I have to tell my daughter, sorry, this is important right now. You can, wait for an hour or half. And so sometimes tables turn, and you also have to let them know that your time will come, or right now this
Yeah.
is priority. And I want her to see that, because you do want a disciplined work ethic that you also want to show them.
So, creating boundaries again come with choice, whether we have that choice to create boundaries. And I want to come back to something you mentioned, our workplaces contributing enough, for women to work. So I'm going to read out something because this involves stats. A study by Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, IIMA, revealed that 67% of women struggle with work-life balance. Are Indian workplaces adequately addressing women's unique challenges in achieving work-life balance?
I think not all workplaces are doing it successfully. So, big MNCs or big international organizations 100% have a fabulous, leave plan in place, maternity leave plan in place, or even these amazing things where, the partners can share leaves, or you can transfer your leave from one partner to the other. There are countries where there are leaves for 6 months after you get a baby, and or a year. I mean, I was researching this for the book, and I was shocked that I'm like, this also
Yes.
exists.
So in Sweden, I might be wrong, few years back, I know this was the case. We can check facts. But I guess for the first 6 months, the mother gets the leave.
Yeah.
And then for the next 6 months, the father gets the leave.
That's correct. What also happens is when you have a policy like that in place, you're giving the message that it's okay to be home to tend to the baby and take a break from work, because personal life is very important for also an employee's, mental health. And that I think is something that we are not understanding or prioritizing. By we, I mean not all organizations. There are some that are proactive about it. For example, I feel paternal leave is also not a conversation in India yet. There have been few,
I don't think so that exists.
Yeah,
Unless it's your own business.
yeah,
So then you decide that I'm going to take paternal leave for 10 days.
Yeah,
You
which is
can't-
also appreciated, by the
It
way.
is
Like,
appreciated,
yeah.
but it's 10 days and it's nothing close to 1 month or 3 months or 6
Absolutely not.
months.
It's
Yeah.
amazing because I feel that if the father or takes even a 1 week or a 2 weeks leave, he's hailed and respected in society, like how this is like the ideal man.
Yes.
And I'm like, like, isn't this like about joint parenting and both doing it together? But I think again, it's a mindset. We start small and
Yeah.
we do it. But I feel like paternal leave is something that should become mainstream. We should talk about it because that unknowingly will also reduce the maternity leave time, because if you have both partners kind of helping for the kid, you will realize that the mother can actually get back to work much sooner, because they will figure help sooner, they will figure what is needed much sooner, and she will probably recuperate much faster as opposed to doing it alone. So I feel that should be a conversation here.
And I also feel millennial dads are open to this. They
Yeah.
are pretty much involved in parenting. So if something like this comes up, paternal leave, I guess
I think they will love it. And there was, in
they'll-
fact, just yesterday some statistic that said that fathers of the millennial fathers are 3 times more involved and spending more time with their kids as opposed to the fathers of the previous
we have to
generation.
give it to them.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
to the millennial
absolutely.
dads.
Yeah. And also, I think the mothers of that time, because I think it's so gently brought up some of these men that they are very open about emotions. Their friends and, men in that category, they are very open about their emotional attachment to their kids, about the emotions that they feel, which I feel that the men of previous or the prior generations were not so good at, because also it was not encouraged.
Absolutely. And now that we are on this topic of being a mother, maternity, etc., I'm going to touch a subject which is very sensitive, but I'm going to go right in. So, one of the key role as women we have is of a nurturer. Biologically, we birth children, we take the human race ahead. And emotionally, we are sort of better caregivers, like we talk about mother's instinct. And in the initial years of a baby, of a child, mostly the mother is the primary parent.
Yeah.
And all of this requires a lot of sacrifice, whether it's career, it's personal, it's physical, fitness, emotional. And yes, the woman is making more of a sacrifice than the man.
Yeah.
Now, how do we explain this to our daughters that it is a part of being a woman if you choose to start a family? There are going to be sacrifices which aren't going to be equal.
Yeah.
And I feel it is important to explain them. How? I don't know. But we are bringing up the next generation, they are going to bring up the generation after that. So that sort of responsibility is crucial.
Yeah, it's a big one, actually. I mean, if you think about it, I've never put a thought to it. But if I were to have that conversation with my daughter, I think I would want to make her feel like the whole journey of motherhood and giving birth is a powerful one. I think we have to start looking at it as, a journey of power, an empowering one, where you are literally creating life and you are nurturing another one. And of course, you're a better nurturer and better caregiver than, the other gender. And I feel the minute you attach power to it, which is true, it's just that we haven't yet looked at it from that lens most often. The minute you kind of look at it from that lens, I think they will want to do it, or at least they will not look at it as, oh, it's a hindrance in my career, because that's
Yeah.
not wholesome thinking. So if I were to bring them up or give a message to the daughters of tomorrow, it's that the whole the life the success of a life should be measured as a whole and not just divided into categories as career and what you achieved in career. It's really about a cumulative effect of what did you achieve. Did you achieve a thriving family? Did you achieve a independent identity? So I feel, and like you said, I think even Michelle Obama said a very nice quote that a marriage is equal, but it's never 50-50 every day. Some days it's 30-70, some days it's 60-40. So some days one partner needs to put in more than the other in the house because maybe they are required outside, and maybe during that period you will be needed more in the house. And I feel when we start looking at it as a journey of power, of the fact that you're literally bringing in the next generation, I think that mindset will change. My main advice would be to know the plan from there, or to believe in herself enough that she will come back, or she will be able to pick herself when she's ready. It should never be seen as a dent in the career, or it should never be seen as a pause, because that is life. Your life is moving on, just a different track, just a different part of your life is moving ahead, while the other one is waiting for you.
Got it.
So I feel that security, that you can come back to your work identity and resume whenever you want, is what I want the daughters to have, because motherhood is a beautiful experience. Again, it's a choice, it's a
It all comes
journey.
back to our first conversation. It's a matter of choice.
It's a
As
matter of
simple
choice,
as
absolutely.
simple as that.
Yeah, so I feel like she gets to choose, they get to choose. But if they choose, I feel there should not be any sense of regret about it. That there should just be security that they can always get back to do what they want to do.
You couldn't have explained it better. Just replace the word sacrifice with power. But do you think there are enough women mentoring other women? We hear of female jealousies, etc. How do we fix this?
I feel there are lesser women mentors. 100% there need to be more women mentors. Also, that will happen when there are more women in positions of mentoring. Like they need to have a certain scale of, workmanship behind them to be able to be mentors. Mentors are those who've already spent a certain number of years in an expertise. So when that slowly starts building up is when, they will have opportunities to give back. And I feel that will change now, because there will be women who have grabbed opportunities and they will feel grateful and would want to return that gratitude by giving it back to daughters of tomorrow and by training younger women. So I feel 100% if a woman has made it, it is her unsaid responsibility to at least make sure that 3 or 4 other women behind her, below her, or younger to her, are getting doors opened, because it is our responsibility. It No one else is going to look out for you. Of course, men are there, but men think differently. But I feel we should put on the gender chashma and kind of whisk them out from down, because if we don't do it, who else will?
Very well said. And coming to the last question, or sort of wrapping up the podcast, what advice would you give to daughters of tomorrow?
Well, almost everything I said is kind of advice for them. But I think if I had to put it in a nutshell, I would 100% hope and aim that they all strive to be financially independent, and then everything else is a choice. They can decide to have a family, not have a family, go whichever way they want to, but they should dream big. I feel that is something that the next generation will do fabulously, because they're literally born with no blinders. They're literally born with parents like us who want to like kind of give the best to them, and which is to say even our parents did. But I feel the women, until many generations, have been taught to dream within a certain bracket, like इतना ठीक है, इससे
I know
ज्यादा
what you
मतलब,
mean. Yeah.
या सो इट्स लाइक इससे ज्यादा तो बोनस हो जाएगा, इससे ज्यादा तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात हो रही
That
है.
line कर लो टाइम पास के लिए, ठीक है.
Oh God,
बिजी
that
रहने के लिए.
really
No, that line is
that gets on my
हाँ,
blood so
ठीक है,
much
कर लो,
that you're like,
बिजी
हाँ,
रहोगे.
मन लगा रहता है. I'm like,
हाँ.
what do you mean, मन लगा? मेरे कर रही हो?
This brings us to the end of the podcast. This conversation has been truly inspiring, and I guess I'm going to take a lot of it and incorporate in my life. And I truly appreciate you taking out time from all the fabulous roles you play and speaking with us.
Thank you so much, Zara. I had a fabulous time. This is like just chatting with a friend and, figuring what the future world will be like. So thank you so much for having me, and congratulations and all the best for your show.
Thank you so much.